Seyka of For Goodness Seyks, reporting for Jane Unchained from Budapest, Hungary. Thanks for joining us here at Vegan Garden. This is the world's first vegan garden of food trucks here in Budapest. Joining me today is Martin, the co-founder of Vegan Garden and co-owner of Vexicana. Is that right? All right. Yeah. And Nora, the social media director here at Vegan Garden. Thanks so much for being here, you guys.
Thank you.
So to get us started, I'd love to find out, where did the idea of Vegan Garden come from?
Peter and I, the other co-founder, known each other for several years, and he reached me with the idea. I had some connections to this area, so we started to work on the project together like 2 years ago. And we made it happen in like half a year.
And Nora, how did you get involved with this setup?
I got involved because of my own Instagram account. So I built up like a huge following of because of what I eat and vegan food and everything else. And they found me through Instagram and asked me if I could do the social media for Vegan Garden as well.
How did you build up that following?
It was just the passion, and that I love vegan food, I love cooking, I love eating those food. Yeah, and I love to take nice pictures, so.
Beautiful. And where did Vexicana come from?
When we started Vegan Garden, we wanted to came with an idea of a fusion Asian food place, but then we changed to Mexican. We found it more cool or fashionable, and it's also easier to get the ingredients as well.
Beautiful. And behind, right behind the garden, you were mentioning that there's a compost area and a community garden. Tell me a little bit about that.
The community garden had been there before we started the Vegan Garden, and we had some connections to the community garden, and we came up with the idea that all the waste that is possible to compost, we should just bring there and prepare it for composting. And then we reached the foundation who runs the community garden, and they were open to the idea, so we've been doing it since the beginning.
Wow, very, very cool. Do you find that the people in Budapest are most interested in the health aspect, or the kind of the animal aspect, or the planet aspect of veganism?
It's hard to say, but I think the combination of the whole, all the three topics are important for people coming in here. Even we have many people coming here who are not vegan, and they are open to the idea, open to find out new ways of gastronomical experience. I think everyone knows about the environmental impact of veganism. So.
Beautiful. And from your experience as a social media influencer and a vegan influencer, what is your perspective on how veganism has changed recently or not here in Budapest?
It has changed a lot. It has grown a lot, especially in the past 2 years, which I've seen by myself, and also here in Budapest with all the vegan places as well. So there are many places here where you can eat. It's really easy to be vegan here, and yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
I've never seen a vegan food garden, and of course that makes sense now, understanding this is the first one, and it's really cool because they have such a variety of food in here, plant-based items. They've got healthy and not healthy, don't you worry. They've got the junk food too, which is fun. A little bit of that. And I love that you mentioned that there are people who aren't vegan who are joining us here.
Many of them actually, yeah. It's mostly women who are interested in this topic or has been on vegan diet already, and guys are, I'm not saying forced to come here, but very much advised to come here and try out the food. So, and they're very open. We have some good stories of guys who look actually meat eaters, like proper meat eaters, and they just come to the counter and say they want something, and they are not aware of that there is no meat inside. And did a few like bets and exchanges for that kind of experience, and all of them were like happy. So
that's amazing. Tell me a little bit about some of the events you guys hold here. Who should?
Yeah.
First, Nora.
Yeah. So we have tomorrow a Pride dinner, for example, with influencer Christoph Steiner, and he is having a dinner there. He actually has a food truck there, which I'm going to show you later. He's doing Middle Eastern food vegan. And we are going to have like a pride rainbow colored theme with the dinner. And We usually have those kind of dinners with him, and also markets. We have different types of markets. For example, with fashion or with clothes, or just vegan food. So it depends. And this is mostly what we are doing.
I know that you guys have an earth conscious focus here. So I think I saw some of the utensils are made out of wood and skewers. They go into your compost.
That's
What
right.
about straws? Tell me a little bit more about your earth focus.
Yeah, straws are biodegradable at the bar right now, but just mentioning Vexicana, we don't use straws at the moment at all. So if they want to use straws, we just tell them to go to the bar and pick your own one.
Do you find that people are frustrated if you say we don't have straws for environmental reasons? Are they like, ah, dang? Or are they just like, that's okay?
They say that's just okay, like they understand, and they feel ashamed maybe a little bit that they wanted to ask for a straw actually.
That's what we find too, and I've actually had the experience, and my husband has had the experience. My husband hates straws, and I usually don't want a straw unless I know that it's biodegradable or made out of something that's earth-friendly. And I've had the experience of being really frustrated when I get a straw that I didn't want, and so I think that you're going to end up pleasing more people as a business owner, either not having straws or only giving them one if they ask for it, than putting one in automatically.
Yeah, people can also bring their own straws as well, or their boxes, and we pack the food for them in their boxes as well. So it can be made, can be done.
That's beautiful, and I've seen that here. I've actually seen people carrying in their own Tupperware, which is just incredible that you guys are encouraging that and you're making that happen here. I know, Nora, you mentioned earlier that one thing that you think has helped move the vegan community forward here in Budapest is to have the community puts a little bit of pressure on business owners. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So because I'm in lots of Facebook groups, I can see what is happening here, and so we as a community can have a great effect on companies and on people or restaurants to sell more food. So for example, if I walk along here and if I find a restaurant and there is no vegan food, I always go there and ask and say them that they should have, and just put the pressure on them basically, and then they might change, because if they get this answer lots of times. And we also have like little cards to give for the restaurants. We have a thank you card for thanks for having vegan food, and we have a not thank you for having not vegan food, but so and then you give that card, and it has like recipe sites on it, and where you can ask, and we give you help and everything, so what the restaurant owner needs. So I find it really good, and you can just leave the card there if you don't want to talk, and they can reach out.
A digital method of doing this is a program called A Billion Veg. Are you guys, either of you guys, familiar with A Billion Veg?
No.
So everybody knows about Happy Cow, right? It's like Yelp for vegan food. A Billion Veg is also for vegan food, and one of the cool things that they do, what differentiates them from Happy Cow, is they're about the meal, not the restaurant. So they rate each meal and tell you specifically what's in each dish, as opposed to the restaurant as a whole. And the other thing that they do, which is similar to what you're talking about, is through A Billion Veg, they have a huge network of all the restaurants that are in your town. And if one doesn't have vegan options, they have a poke button where you can poke them, and it sends them an email saying, hey, somebody has just requested a vegan option at your restaurant.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And we're also doing like Earthings experience and all kind of stuff, but it's not connected to food, but in a way it is.
Yeah.
Because it's also part of veganism, so we are doing that as well.
I love that you guys are touching so many different functions of veganism. You're bringing the vegan community together through the events, and just the space is very warm and welcoming and creates an awesome opportunity for networking. You're touching on health with a lot of the food options here, and then the fun spirit of vegan food. Really, really incredible, and having the earth focus as well.
If you want, you can check out the composting place.
That would be really fun. We'll do that after we tour the food
Yeah,
here.
I can show you
Okay.
what we have here.
Perfect. Let's see. Let's check it out.
So here we have a Be Nice vegan ice cream, and they have here sugar-free ice cream and pops, like this popsicles, and they also have cakes and cookies here, which are homemade, and they are really nice.
Wow, sugar-free ice cream. Is it
Lollipop.
is it sweetened with anything?
The pops, it's sweetened only with the fruits, so fruit sugar basically in it.
Beautiful. That's what I'm all about. Any recipe that calls for sugar, I'm like, nah, I'll just add some fruit instead.
Yeah.
Very fun. All right.
And then here, so in Hungary we have this traditional chimney cake, which is usually not vegan because they are using milk in it. And these ones are obviously vegan, and you have all these kind of different types to choose from. I would say the gerbo is my favorite.
Okay.
It's with chocolate chip, apricot jam, and walnuts.
Wow.
And it's really, really good. But the unicorn one is also, it looks fun.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Or can be a pride.
Yes.
Can be a pride chimney cake as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is like a Hungarian food made vegan.
Awesome.
So I really like that we have here. They are just cooking here on this.
Charcoal
and
grill?
Fresh fire.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we have Las Vegans, which has vegan burgers, burger plates, and potatoes, smoothies, and nuggets, which are made of soy. And these are really, really, really good because it's hard to get here vegan nuggets actually in Budapest. I think this is the only place where you can get it. So this is influencer Christoph Steiner place. It's called the Christoph's Kitchen, and he has here Middle Eastern food veganized. So as you can see, he has like sweet potato mash or Indian style spinach stew, chestnut mushroom stew with sage and with sun-dried tomatoes. That one is my favorite, really good. And then onion bhaji and all kinds of Indian and Middle Eastern food, which are quite oily but also really, really nice. I like these
Awesome.
a lot. You can also choose variations of the dishes and put it in one plate. And they have it's like a sneakers bar.
Oh, how fun. A
Yeah.
sneakers bar. I love it.
Yeah, and also a cashew cheesecake. So, and they also have a daily soup, which is
With
really
a
nice as well.
cheesecake with a chili mango sauce. Check
Yeah.
that out for something craft and artisan. Very fun.
Yeah, and he also has recipe books here.
Oh.
And these here, the food is made from his recipe books, so you can find all the recipes.
Does he have it in English as well?
Yes, yeah. His newest book is in English as well here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have a full bar.
Yes, everything here is vegan, from the drinks and chips you can get here. And as Martin just said, they just switched to biodegradable straws, which is great.
And last but certainly not least, Vexicana.
Yeah, so that's Vexicana, Hungary's first vegan Mexican food truck restaurant. And the menu has changed a bit in and out constantly because it's experimenting with the ideas, ingredients, and so on. It's more like a Tex-Mex in a vegan version, rather than like a very specific or high-end traditional Mexican restaurant. But we found good sources for getting things into the food. For example, the huitla xoxa, which is like a very special Mexican truffle, let's say. It's like fungus that grows inside of the corn behind the leaves if they don't harvest it in time. And that gives a specific spice taste to the food. We use it for one meal, which is gourmet quesadilla. And I think our best selling product is chimichanga. And the other top favorite is burrito, but you can find taco burger, chili non carne, and corn soup, potato, smoothie, Aztec boost. So it's a wide selection of things if you want to try.
Wonderful, and we are going to dive into some of this in a little bit, and we'll get to show the audience a really close-up view of how awesome this food looks, but just from the descriptions I can tell it's going to be good. Now we are at the compost area and community garden that the Vegan Garden contributes compost to. Tell us, how did this kind of partnership get worked out?
As I mentioned before, we had some connections to here before, and at the very beginning of Vegan Garden project, we already thought about how to create a functioning that's environmentally conscious, and we tried to get all the ingredients that are biodegradable, and then we tried to convince our partners to work accordingly and use the same kind of materials. And what's new from last year is that we don't prepare the waste by hand now. We have a chopping machine for the cutlery and the trays, so now it's a little bit more automatized than last year. So it's a big success forward, and we have a dedicated person right now who is dealing with the issue 5 days a week.
You were saying that the community garden is made up essentially of many, maybe around 50 plots of land that the community can kind of purchase and then plant whatever they want. Is that right?
Yeah, about 50 spots here, and there's a yearly rental fee for that, and they can do whatever they want with the territory, basically.
Wow, and then how do they get access to the rich, composted, very healthy, robust dirt? Is that part of what they're paying for to be part of the community, or how does that work?
It's part of the deal, and there is a composting meister, let's say Mark, who is dealing with the composting, and he's also teaching all the group members how to deal with the composting and how to prepare what to put there, how to cut it, and he's like a big mind for that, and he's helping everyone through the procedures.
Have there been any, this is obviously a beautiful space and a really cool way to bring the community together, have there been any events that you hold in this space?
Yes, we had here yoga events, here exactly on this place. And it can be 20 people here doing yoga.
That's amazing. We actually, my husband and I just listened to a podcast that was about some research that was done about the psychological effects of people seeing greenery, and that the rates of crime decrease significantly, depression decreases significantly, and there's some other really beneficial things that come along with exposing yourself to live plants regularly. So I can only imagine what a benefit that is for your customers and your community for you to hold a yoga event amidst all of this green.
It certainly does benefit everyone.
Very
Trying
cool.
to get the yoga back this year as well, because it's been on pause for this year, but we are working on getting it back to the spot.
Wonderful. Well, let us know when it is, and we'll let our community know as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for hosting us here and showing us about this awesome land you've created.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching.
Wonderful. We will head back out, but if you guys would like to follow along on this 21 country vegan voyage, don't forget to get connected on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube at For Goodness Seyks and at For Goodness Seyks Foodie. We are doing 21 countries of interviews, of eating at restaurants, and connecting the vegan community. Thanks so much for joining as we plant the vegan flag here in Budapest, Hungary. Talk to you guys soon.